And Bill, I'd like to start by asking you about the Chinese pursuit of something called access denial in its various component parts. You've mentioned the DF-31, a carrier killer missile. Talk a bit about that and how that might bear on our options for example, coming to the aid of our allies in Taiwan.
Well, yeah, the Chinese are developing weapon systems that are specifically designed to prevent the United States military from operating in Asia. And by that, it includes submarines, which I reported earlier this month that they've conducted the first nuclear submarine patrol. So they're now doing submarine patrols, although the U.S. intelligence community is not sure they have actual nuclear-armed missiles aboard. But again, if they didn't, it wouldn't be much of a deterrent. But again, there's another gap in our intelligence capability. They're also developing these unique anti-ship ballistic missiles. They have the DF-21D, which is a medium range, that's about 620 miles. And then they just showed off in September during their military parade a longer range missile called the DF-26, which they've announced is both nuclear capable as well as conventionally armed. And so it's a dual capable strategic missile, again, with this very unique capability of having enough precision, guidance, and maneuverability of its warhead to be able to target a ship at sea. And so that's a real challenge, and they've matched it. The U.S. has no defense. When our Navy people are asked about this, they offer vague responses that, well, our goal is to try to disrupt the so-called kill chain. That is the sensors and communications that are used to first identify ships at sea and then also to guide these missiles. So it's posing a real challenge. It will mean that the U.S. Navy could be prohibited from coming to the aid of our allies in Asia, whether it's Taiwan or Japan or nations of Southeast Asia and the South China Sea.
Bill, one other area that you've been describing in your writings, very worrying again, is Chinese activity in space, aimed at disrupting, talk about the kill chain, disrupting our military's operations and perhaps our civilian economy as well. Give us a sense of what they've got going there.
Yeah, this is a huge strategic vulnerability for the U.S. and the West. China recently conducted a flight test of another high-altitude anti-satellite missile called the DN-3 or Dongming-3. And this is a system that will be capable of shooting out satellites at various altitudes. And the Chinese have assessed through the open source that with as few as 24 of these missiles, they could really literally cripple the ability of the United States to navigate its forces, to communicate and command and control its forces, as well as to guide its precision-guided weapon systems. Now, again, this is, we talked about the cyber vulnerability. At the same time, we're trying to use our technology edge. This is, again, another strategic advantage for the U.S. that is quickly evaporating through the development of Chinese anti-satellite missiles. It's not just the missiles as well. They also have ground-based lasers which can disrupt the communications of satellites and ground stations, can also damage the optics. And then third, they have small maneuvering satellites, including some with robotic arms that can actually reach out, maneuver close to a satellite, reach out and grab it and crush it. So again, the Air Force is really concerned about this. They're because the Obama administration has this notion that they don't want to do weapons in space. They're basically turning a blind eye to this threat, and their response has been basically they're looking at ways to quickly launch numbers of new satellites to replace the ones that are shot down by the Chinese. Now, the Russians also have this capability as well.